Hello. Okay, so today we are dealing with our plugin updates. So what you will find is your WordPress website will ask you to do all of these updates, and it will look a little bit like this. It looks a little bit scary, and you might even have some more pop-ups up here that are just like freaking you out. Like this one, you can dismiss them typically, but just make sure that you do updates pretty frequently. It's suggested at minimum to do them every month. That is very, very base minimum. But at the same time, you don't want to update too soon as well, because when an update is released, it could cause some conflicts between plugins that are already active and updated. So it's not the worst thing to wait. So this is why, if you've ever watched any of my videos, you'll know that I'm one of the many website designers that say do not enable auto updates. Okay, so if your website designer is enabling auto updates, I would question them on that. It is a little bit scary because your website will update, let's say in the middle of the night, and then there'll be a conflict, and then when you wake up, there'll be an issue with your website. So we like to do this manually. Um, it's not hard, but if you are thinking I have to do plugin updates, the first thing that you need to think is I need to do a backup. So your website host will be taking backups, but it is always good to take your own backup as well. So if you work with me, we use Updraft Plus for that. I'm sorry, just here. And so this is if your plugins need updating, if your themes need updating, which are just here and they notify you like this, or if your WordPress core needs an update, which will be typically on your top board here, it will say that WordPress needs updating. I'll just show you on the dashboard. If you are with SiteGround, this is what your dashboard will look like. It might look a little different with your host, but in here as well, you'll get a notification that your um, WordPress core needs updating. We'll just show you that quickly. This gives you a nice summary of what needs updating. So your themes, this, and then it will show you if your WordPress core needs updating. Again, this is a feature from if you have SiteGround hosting, but overall, this is the same if you have hosting with anyone. So we're going to do a backup. We're going to go into settings, go into Updraft Plus, which is the backup plugin that we're using. And as you can see, there are already some saved backups. And you can check out another video on how to set up Updraft Plus, but this is assuming that you already have Updraft Plus set up, and it's doing these automatic backups. So if you have not touched your website in a really long time and you don't have things like emails built into your website, so you're not collecting people's emails, subscribers, etc., then you don't probably need to do a backup. So if you haven't updated the front end design since September 19th, that's today, since say this was our last backup, since yesterday I haven't updated anything, I have no new subscribers, I have no new orders in my WooCommerce store, etc., you could essentially do a plugin update already. You have a backup that has everything that up to date within it. Okay, so the idea of doing a backup is that your backup will be able to be restored. As you can see, we can go back to this old version in case when we update our plugins there is an issue. So that would just kind of mean like your plugins are having a conflict and then the front end of your website looks a little bit weird, which you can just go back and restore your old backup, and then you will have a nice looking website again. You can figure out which plugins are having a conflict afterwards. But instead of having your website down, you have this backup to revert to. So we're going to just hit backup now to do a backup. So I'll show you an example. So you can do this as well. Allow this backup to be deleted manually only. And that will lock this so it won't delete. So your Updraft Plus will keep the backups for however long you asked it to. I ask it to keep it for 7 days. That's why we have 7 backups. You can also delete these, and that will delete from the remote storage. So these are actually going to Google Drive, as you can see. So this will look like this, and you'll just need to step away from your website for a little while and come back. And when this is finished, then you can do your plugin updates. If this doesn't work, if there's an issue when you come back, just stop it if it's already stopped, and then just start again. It might need a second try, and there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes if it's in here and it says not quite finished, it says maybe not quite finished, but it says not finished, etc., I would just do backup again. So I actually have a backup that is valid with everything that I've done, because I haven't done any edits since yesterday. Oh, sorry, since today. I actually did a backup earlier today. Um, so we can go into our plugins. And then what I suggest is, if you're using Elementor and Elementor Pro, is to back up these plugins last. Update these plugins last. These, as you can see, they have little alerts, compatibility alerts, and you really want to make sure your website is up to date before you update those. So you can go through and either click update like this, or you can check them off as well this way. Anything that needs to be updated, go up to the top, bulk actions. Oh, they're not going to let you do that. They're not going to do that then. We're just going to hit update now. That's not a thing anymore. Update now. I wanted to show you the quick way of doing it, but we're just going to do this the short way. Update now. Update now. There we go. So I never do bulk updates anyway that way, but I wanted to try and save you some time. But so now, as you can see, they're slowly updating, so you just have to stay on this page. Give it a couple seconds. Okay, as you can see, they're all green and they're all updated and everything is all good. So now you can go and do Elementor and Elementor Plus Pro. So these are all updated. You might get this alert. Sometimes it happens because you're updating both and it would have already updated in here. Sometimes not. So if you just hit refresh, it'll just show you that it's updated. There we go. So they are all nice and freshly updated. And that is a separate issue I will cover in a different video. And your WooCommerce database can also be updated. This is a more rare one. So as you can see, it's updating, and then Elementor Data Updater sometimes runs as well, so you can run it right now as well. So everything is updating there, and then you just want to go into your appearance and go into themes and update. This is your backup theme. So if you haven't like reduced the amount of themes that you have, you only need 2 themes. So you need one that's active, which is typically this one if you have Elementor, Hello Elementor, and then a backup one, which I like to keep the newest WordPress one. And that is because if your theme is having a conflict with one of your plugins, you can just check it by switching over to the second theme. So that is how you update all of your plugins and your theme, and you do a backup. So I hope that helps you. This is a video you might want to watch every time just for a refresher, just so you feel confident in what you're clicking every time. So anytime you get some red dots around here, you can let it sit for a little bit, gather a few more, and then do a bulk update, which make sure you just do a backup beforehand. So happy WordPress website designing and growing and scaling, and see you in the next video.